We on here? Yeah. This happened. I wasn't on the band yet. I was on the Maynard's band yet. And we're in South Jersey, and we play a high school that's close to where I live. And Maynard, as we're going to this gig, Maynard says, I wonder if I'm going to see the boys from Jersey. And I think it's my first or second tour. Someone will probably post a photo of this gig, because when I wrote the story up to put on the original Maynard site, somebody posted the actual gig that I'm going to tell you about. I wasn't on the band, but I heard about it. But the place, we're driving around, and I said, what happened? He goes, well, we played this place, Sunset Ballroom. And I'm saying, Sunset Ballroom, that used to be... That's what it used to be called. Now it was called Almanescent Ballroom now, or it keeps changing names. And I said, I know that place. It's like 8 miles from my house. And Maynard said, yeah. When we were playing there, and we had a little bouncer problem, but the boys from Jersey took care of it. I was like, what are you talking about? And so it was Maynard. I think it was Eric Traub or some other guys. There were guys on the band that were on this particular gig. And we were all up front, so I forget exactly who said what. As Maynard was saying some things, maybe Eric Traub, who's the great tenor player who got me on the band from Miami. But Eric was on this gig, and a couple other guys. It was like my first tour. I still wasn't sure, how things worked. But Maynard, basically the story is, and like I said, I got it in bits and pieces from other people, but we're all together with it, is they played this place, Almanescent Ballroom, which is it's not even double digits as far as miles go from my house. It's like 7 miles from my house. And Maynard played it. I must have been in Miami going to school or whatever, because I don't remember hearing that he came through. Anyway, Maynard, maybe I was in school at the time, but anyway, so Maynard, he's playing a gig, and there was a guy heckling him. You can't play like you used to. You look like you're getting fat, stuff like that. And Maynard wasn't really good with hecklers. Any of these leaders or comedians, or they usually have a couple set phrases they can go to when they have a heckler. But Maynard, if he was heckled, it would kind of derail him. And at least when I was with him, and he didn't have smart comebacks. He wasn't an evil guy, so he didn't have zingers. And even if he did have a zinger, he would really feel uncomfortable using it, to make someone feel uncomfortable. So he was kind of like a sitting duck for anybody that wanted to heckle him. And it was real uncomfortable because everybody loved him, So they're playing this place, and this guy's heckling him, and he won't stop. And this is kind of I don't want to say it's a mob-run joint, but around that area, there was a lot of those types of people who would come out to see Maynard. And, the whole Philadelphia scene, it's all really close together. It's not far apart. Philadelphia is 13 minutes from this place. So that whole, organized crime activity thing, they always hung around jazz bands and singers. And, so if we played certain types of places, those guys would be out. And it was always that way. You kind of grew up around that, even though you didn't get involved with him. So anyway, this guy is giving Maynard a rash of crap, and Maynard, now he's all messed up. So Maynard says to the guy, sir, if you and your party leave right now, I will pay for your ticket and your meal. So Maynard's basically telling his heckler, just please leave, basically begging the guy. And it must have been really uncomfortable. But what happened, the guy still wouldn't stop. So these two guys come over and grab this guy. And the guys, leave me alone. And they grab this guy and they walk him outside. And Maynard has 1 or 2 tunes left. And they finish up the gig. And there's some, as people are leaving, and there's an there's an ambulance outside. The lights are on. And come to find out, one of the guys in the band went out and saw that Maynard was in his dressing room. And so like, what happened? This was the guy who was bothering Maynard. These two guys came and they took him out. Almost like literally took him out. But anyway, took him out of the room. And the guy's going into an ambulance. And, like his arm was broken. I think his arm was broken and his leg was fractured or something like that. And so what happened to him? The guy says, well, he tripped on the steps. One of the guys who took him out said. And then you turn around and you looked and there weren't any steps. It was a flat go. And so when the guy said, well, what steps? There aren't any steps. And one of the guys who took this guy out says, he tripped on the steps, all right, kid? All right? And I was like, oh, okay, well, all right. Yeah, he tripped on the steps. They took him away. So whenever Maynard would go back into that area in South Jersey, these guys, and there were actually more, there were about 5 of them, but the 2 and their 3 friends, they would always come around because they loved Maynard. And Maynard called them the boys from Jersey. They always came out, and Maynard, Maynard dug them. They dug Maynard. But, if a heckler got on Maynard and, and if the guys were there and took the guy out, unfortunately, maybe the guy will trip on some steps that nobody seems to be able to find, and the guy's in an ambulance with a broken arm and a fractured leg. So the boys from Jersey, don't forget that. So I wasn't on that gig, but I did meet those guys, and sometimes there's still like one guy still comes around sometimes to gigs. Actually, I haven't seen him in a few years, but he would come around all the time. Boys from Jersey.